The engine temperature needle is past the red line and climbing. Glycol smoke fills the cockpit, sweet and chemical. And through the cracked canopy, you can see the French countryside spread beneath you like a painting. Green fields, stone farmhouses, a river winding south. It looks peaceful, but it is the most dangerous piece of ground in Europe. You grab the canopy release and pull, but it won't move. The frame warped from the cannon hits. You slam it with the heel of your palm until the frame cracks loose and the wind rips it away. You kick free of the cockpit, roll the aircraft, inverted, and fall. The parachute opens at 8,000 feet, and the world goes quiet. Just you drifting under white silk, falling slowly toward a country that will kill you for existing in it. Every second, the ground gets closer, and not one thing about what happens next is in your hands. You're 23 years old, flight lieutenant. 18 months ago, you were studying engineering at Durham, and now you're flying a Spitfire with 401 Squadron out of Biggin Hill in Kent. Your pay is £648 a year, which sounds reasonable until you remember that the average life expectancy of a fighter pilot on cross-channel operations is measured in weeks, not years. Nobody saves money when every sortie could be the last one. Today's mission was simple. Escort a formation of Marauder bombers hitting a Luftwaffe airfield near Beaumont-le Roger. Fly out, fly back, land, drink tea. That was the plan. The plan ended 4 minutes ago when 2 Focke-Wulfs 190s came out of a cloud bank and put cannon rounds through your engine cowling and radiator. Your wingman, a Canadian named Marcus, called the attack a half-second too late. You heard the impacts before you heard his voice. Metal on metal, then the smoke. You have maybe 90 seconds before this aircraft becomes a coffin. You pull the canopy release. The wind hits like a wall of ice. You disconnect your oxygen, unclip your harness, roll the Spitfire inverted, and drop. The horizon spins. Sky, fields, sky, fields. You pull the ripcord at 8,000 feet. The parachute opens with a jolt that compresses your spine by 2 inches. Silence. The engine noise is gone. Your Spitfire spirals into a field about a mile east. A dull, hollow crump. A column of orange fire and dirt. You're hanging in the air over Normandy. It's 3:47 in the afternoon. Occupied France. German patrols, Gestapo checkpoints, Vichy collaborators, and 500 miles of enemy territory between you and anything resembling safety. You don't speak French, you don't speak German. You have a silk escape map sewn into the lining of your flight jacket, a compass the size of a thumbnail hidden in a uniform button, a small hacksaw blade, a waterproof pouch containing 3,000 French francs, and a phrase card printed in 4 languages that you memorized during a 20-minute MI9 briefing 3 months ago. The briefing officer, a quiet man with a glass eye and a limp, told you 3 things. Move at night, head east, away from the coast, trust no one until someone trusts you first. He also said something else. Something that didn't land until right now, floating under silk over a country that wants you dead. He said, remember that anyone who helps you risks death, not imprisonment, not a fine, death. The Germans execute civilians caught harboring Allied airmen, entire families, children. You're about to ask strangers to bet their lives on you. You hit the ground hard in a wheat field. Your right shoulder lights up with a pain that turns your vision white. Dislocated or broken, you can't tell. You bury the parachute with one working arm, tear off your helmet and Mae West, and shove them under the soil. You keep only the escape pouch, the compass button, and the silk map. Everything else is evidence. You crouch at the edge of the field for 11 minutes, watching a stone farmhouse 200 yards north. Smoke from the chimney. A rusted Citroen in the yard. Chickens, nobody moving. You walk to the door. You knock. A woman opens it. She's maybe 50, gray hair tied back, flower on her apron. She looks at your RAF uniform, the wings on your chest, and her face doesn't change, doesn't smile, doesn't scream. She looks past you at the field, at the sky, at the road, then she grabs your sleeve and pulls you inside. The door closes. She slides 1 bolt, then a second. The kitchen smells like onion soup and wood smoke. There's a crucifix on the wall and a photograph of a man in a French army uniform who isn't here anymore. She points to a chair. You sit. She brings wine, bread, and a bowl of soup, so hot it burns your mouth. You eat with one hand because the other arm is useless. She watches you eat. Then she goes to the window and stares at the road for a long time. You pull out your phrase card. Point to the line that reads, "I am English. I am a friend." She nods. Points to the ceiling, upstairs. She leads you to a room barely bigger than a closet. A mattress on the floor, a pitcher of water, a blanket. She mimes silence, finger to her lips. Then she leaves and locks the door from the outside. You're in a stranger's attic in occupied France, locked in from the outside. And this is the safest you've been in hours. You lie on the mattress and stare at the ceiling. Your shoulder throbs with every heartbeat. You think about Marcus. You think about the briefing officer with the glass eye. You think about the woman downstairs who just risked her life for a man she cannot speak to. She fed you soup. She doesn't know your name. You don't know hers. You stay in that attic for 6 days. The woman brings food twice a day, bread, cheese, sometimes an egg. On the third day, a man arrives on a bicycle. Older, thin, speaks broken English. He examines your shoulder, dislocated, not broken. He grabs your arm and resets it with a single violent pull. The pain is extraordinary. You bite through the inside of your cheek. He fashions a sling from a bedsheet, hands you 2 aspirin tablets, and tells you in careful English that people are coming, people who can help. He says, if the Germans come, there is a panel in the floor. Under the panel, there is a space. You must fit inside. He says this the way someone describes how to use a fire extinguisher. Calm, procedural. On the 6th night, a young woman arrives carrying a small suitcase. Inside are civilian clothes, a brown wool jacket, trousers, a cap, worn leather shoes. She also carries forged identity papers with a photograph of a French laborer named Jean-Pierre Moreau, born in Caen, 1920, occupation agricultural worker. The photograph is close enough in a dim light at a checkpoint it might pass. Might. Her name is Marie. She's 22, a school teacher. She tells you that you're going to travel south through a network of safe houses until you reach the Pyrenees. From the Pyrenees, a Basque guide will take you over the mountains into Spain. From Spain, the British consulate will get you to Gibraltar. From Gibraltar, home. She describes this 500-mile journey through enemy territory the way a travel agent describes a holiday package. Except, at every stage, someone could betray you. And every person who touches you along the way, every farmer, every teacher, every cafe owner, every priest, is staking their family's survival on the chance that you're real and not a Gestapo plant in a stolen uniform. She tells you the rules. Don't speak, not a word. Not on the train, not in the street, not in the cafe. If anyone addresses you, pretend to be deaf. Walk 2 paces behind her. If she drops her handbag, it means danger. Walk the other direction, slowly, don't run. Running attracts attention. If you're separated, go to the nearest church and wait. Someone will come, maybe in an hour, maybe in a day, maybe never. She's 22, and she's describing a system where her arrest means torture in a Gestapo basement and a one-way train to Ravensbrück. Her hands are steady, yours are not. You leave the farmhouse before dawn. You don't say goodbye to the woman who saved your life because she left in the night. If the Gestapo questions her, she can honestly say she doesn't know which direction you went. Every link in the chain knows as little as possible about the links on either side, compartmentalized. If one section floods, the others survive. Marie walks ahead, you follow. Cap pulled low. Hands in your pockets because your hands are too clean for a laborer and your fingernails are a dead giveaway. You walk through a village. A German patrol truck sits outside a cafe, 2 soldiers smoking against the hood. Your heart hammers so hard you taste copper. Marie doesn't slow down, doesn't speed up. You match her pace. You walk past the soldiers at a distance of maybe 15 feet, the longest 15 feet of your life. One of them laughs at something the other says. Neither of them looks at you. You board a train. third-class carriage, crowded with farmers and workers and 2 German soldiers reading a newspaper 3 rows ahead. The train smells like coal, smoke, sweat, and damp wool. At a checkpoint, 2 Feldgendarmes walk the aisle checking papers. Marie hands hers over, smiles. They nod. They reach you. You hand over your forged documents. The Feldgendarme looks at the photograph, looks at your face, looks at the photograph again, 3 seconds, 4. He hands the papers back, moves on. Marie turns a page of her book. She hasn't looked at you once. You travel for 9 days, 3 trains, 2 borrowed bicycles, and 40 miles on foot. You sleep in 5 different houses. A farmhouse outside Chartres, where a man named Henri feeds you rabbit stew and lets you sleep in his barn. An apartment where a retired doctor rebandages your shoulder and gives you real painkillers. A convent where an elderly nun brings blankets and bread and says nothing, not a single word, for the 14 hours you're hidden in a storage room behind the chapel. At every stop, the same thing. Ordinary people. Farmers, teachers, doctors, nuns. People with families and children who could continue living safely if they simply closed their door and pretended they hadn't seen you. They don't close the door, they open it. And they do it knowing the penalty for this kindness isn't a fine or a prison sentence. The penalty is men in leather coats and a concrete basement and a train heading east to places with names the world hasn't learned yet. You ask Marie, once, on a quiet stretch of road, why they do it. Why risk everything for a stranger they can't even talk to? She's quiet for a while. Then she says, because if we don't, then they've already won everything. She says it the way someone says, the sky is blue. Not heroic, not dramatic, just true. You reach the Pyrenees on a Tuesday. Marie hands you off to a Basque guide who speaks no English. Stocky, weathered, wearing rope-soled espadrilles. He carries a leather sack with bread, cheese, and a flask of something that burns going down. 2 other men join you. An American bomber navigator named Williams, 20 years old, from Ohio, who hasn't stopped shaking since you met him. And a Belgian resistance fighter with the quiet eyes of someone who stopped being afraid a long time ago. You leave at midnight. The Pyrenees in late autumn are cold and dark in a way England doesn't prepare you for. The temperature drops below freezing within the first hour. The path is loose rock, tree roots, and mud. Your shoulder screams with every jolt. 6 hours in, you reach the Bidasoa River, the border between France and Spain. The guide wades in first. Chest high, moving fast. He comes back, gestures. Now, you cross like a human chain, 40 feet of black water in the dark, with Franco's border guards upstream and German patrols behind you. The cold isn't cold, it's erasure. Your legs go numb in seconds. Williams grabs your good arm, the Belgian grabs Williams, you make it across, all 4 of you. You collapse on the Spanish bank, shaking so hard your teeth cut the inside of your mouth. 11 more days through Spain. Hidden, moved at night, passed from contact to contact like a package nobody wants to hold for too long. You reach the British consulate in Bilbao. A man in a gray suit asks you to name the pub nearest to Biggin Hill, asks what you had for breakfast the day you were shot down. He's making sure you're real. The Gestapo has sent agents disguised as downed airmen through these exact networks. You answer everything. He shakes your hand. Welcome back. 26 days after your Spitfire went down in a wheat field, you land at a military airfield in England on a gray Thursday morning. An intelligence officer debriefs you for 4 hours. Every safe house, every route, every checkpoint. Then he tells you something that sits in your chest like a stone. The network that saved you has been partially blown. A Gestapo agent named de Soubry, operating under the alias Jean Masson, infiltrated the Paris section. Arrests have been made. Helpers have been taken to Fresnes prison, to camps in Germany. Some of them will not come back. He doesn't say which ones. He doesn't say if Marie is among them. He doesn't say if the woman with the flower on her apron was found. You go back to your squadron. You fly again. They give you a new Spitfire and a new escape purse and a new silk map, and you climb to 20,000 feet over the channel and head east. Below you, somewhere in that patchwork of green and brown, the people who saved your life are living under a terror you can barely comprehend. Some of them are already gone. Some of them are in basements answering questions they will die before answering. And some of them, the ones who haven't been caught, are opening their doors tonight for another stranger in a torn flight suit who doesn't speak their language and needs everything. An estimated 12,000 French civilians helped Allied airmen evade capture during the war. Over 500 were executed or died in concentration camps for doing it. They weren't soldiers. They weren't trained. They were teachers and farmers and nuns and schoolgirls who decided, one at a time, to open a door. You're 97 now. It's a Tuesday. Sitting by a window in a house in Kent, there's a photograph on the mantelpiece of a young man in an RAF uniform who looks like a stranger. Somewhere in Normandy, there's a farmhouse with a crucifix on the wall and a door with 2 bolts. The grandchildren of the woman who lived there have no idea what she did in the autumn of 1943. But you know, and that's enough.